In this video, we will learn how to find slope from an equation. Hopefully you noticed a pattern when you did this sheet. Our slopes always matched whatever the coefficient of x was in each equation. So the coefficient of x here was 1/4, and we saw a slope of 1/4. Here it was 4/3, and we saw 4/3. This was true for each of these cases. Now here the coefficient of x is an implied -1 because we see the minus sign. This last one might have thrown you off, but the coefficient of x here is actually 0. I could rewrite this equation as y equals 0x plus 3. One important thing to note is that in every one of these equations, y is already isolated. So this is very important when you're identifying the slope. If y is not isolated, then the coefficient of x is not the slope. It makes sense that the coefficient of x is, in fact, the slope, because we can look at these three equations, y equals 3x, y equals 3x plus 2, and y equals 3x minus 4. If I were to fill in the table for the first one, I'd have the point 0, 0, then the point 1, 3, then 2, 6, then 3, 9. In each case, as x increases by 1, y increases by 3. This will be the same for the next two equations. In this case, we have the point 0, 2, then the point 1, 5, then the point 2, 8, then the point 3, 11. In this case, as x increases by 1, so every time our left column goes up by 1, our y still increases by 3. We just have a different starting value, initial value, y-intercept. And I can fill in the final column. In this case, we have 0, -4. Then we have the point 1, -1, the point 2, 2, and the point 3, 5. In this case, again, as x increases by 1, y increases by 3. Whenever this happens, our slope is 3. Let's look at two quick examples. The first equation is y equals 2 minus 3x. We check that y is isolated, which it is, so in this case, our coefficient of x is -3, so our slope is -3. We always want to make sure that the sign that goes with the coefficient stays with the coefficient. In the second example, y is not isolated, so I'm going to do some work to isolate it. And I can see that my slope in this case is -2/3, because that is the coefficient of x. We will not see that anywhere in our original equation because y was not isolated. In summary, when y is isolated in a linear equation, the slope is the coefficient of x. This makes sense because this is the number that we are adding over and over and over and over again, regardless of whether there was a value that we started with. So in an equation such as y equals 2x minus 4, we start with the value -4, but then we add 2 to it over and over and over and over again. We do have a few special cases. When we have y equals a number, we know that we have a horizontal line. And like every good rule, there's an exception. If we have an undefined slope, that means that there is no y in the equation at all, and we actually get x equals a number. Now go and try some on your own.